This is the Goin to the Hoop podcast.
Welcome to this week's Goin to the Hoop podcast. We are coming to you from a special location at the Rockadome here in Rockville, Indiana. He is the head coach of the Parke Heritage Wolves, Rich Shelsky. Coach Shelsky, thanks for having us up for this week's podcast.
Thanks so much for coming up. It's a great honor for you guys to recognize our program and our kids. We really appreciate it.
Well, and this is a special time of year. I mean, you're ending the regular season, getting set for the postseason. How important is this time to kind of balance practice, but you don't want to practice too much, but you want to keep the guys fresh for these last couple of games as the tournament starts, too?
For sure. You play so many games in a season, and the season's so long. We try to cut practice down starting after the Classic. We normally go 2 hours every day leading up to Christmas break, and then once the Classic hits and we're done through that, usually it's about an hour and a half every day from then on, and then when we get to late February, we're lucky if we go more than an hour on the court. Sure. A lot of film work and things like that, but on the court stuff, you want to keep the kids fresh, and this time of year, it's really probably better to play games than a lot of practice. So that's why this week for us is really good. We're done with our conference schedule. We played a lot of weekend games where they were really meaningful. And not that these two games aren't meaningful by any means, they are, but there's no added pressure to them in terms of trying to win a title. It's more, tweaking and seeing what we need to get better at, which obviously Linton exposed some things last night, and that's a good thing for us. And, we hadn't been tested in well over a month. We hadn't played a close game, and I don't even know how long. So that part of this week is really good as a coach for me to be able to evaluate what we need to kind of tweak and work on.
Coach, you mentioned, it's a long season. How are some of the ways you've seen this year's teams grow from the beginning of the season to now as you get ready for sectionals?
Well, the growth started probably in the summer. Everybody knows we had a great magical run at the end of the season last year, which kind of was unexpected. Probably we didn't think it was maybe necessarily unexpected, but from the outside eye, it was unexpected. You could see in the summer we had gotten stronger. Like, our kids do a really good job in weights class during the day, and they really did a great job of getting stronger, and you could see that building. Our athleticism was greater. We got a little bit taller, like Trey's taller, Ren's taller, BT's taller. Not that we're skyscrapers or anything like that, but we were taller than what we were. And so we knew kind of when the start of the season happened that I thought we were way ahead of pace, and early in the season, I think we started out obviously really well, but we still hadn't arrived defensively. We didn't have that mindset yet, and we do it. We got a lot of guys that like to score, so we're pretty much an offensive-minded team. But these guys understand for us to win, we have to be able to guard, and so what's transpired from game one against West Vigo to now is, our team has gotten so much better defensively that we give ourselves a chance to win, even on a night like last night where we did not play well at all. We at least gave ourselves a chance to win, and that's, really all I've ever asked of this group. I was an offensive guy. I like scoring, but as a coach, I understand what wins is defense, so our guys have bought into that, and that's the big change that I've seen to go along with the physicality and strength gain and things like that.
Good mix of guys that you have too, Coach. You
got
a good mix of veterans, some younger guys too. That the makeup of a good team.
It's a fun group. I mean, great team chemistry, great kids. I mean, all of them are just tremendous kids, tremendous students. It's by far the highest GPA team I've ever coached. They take schoolwork very seriously. They're very conscientious kids, very responsible kids. And then on the court, we're very dynamic because we aren't very big, but that allows us to do a lot of different things. We've kind of become a matchup nightmare for a lot of people. And, we're young, but we're not young. Like I was texting back and forth with Greencastle's Coach Rector the other day, and we were talking about youth because his team's pretty young too. And at the end of the day, we look like we're young, but Max, Ren, and BT have all played well over 70 varsity basketball games in their career.
Yeah,
Trey's only a sophomore and has played well over 50. I mean, we're young by age, but we're pretty old or getting old in experience-wise, and that makes it good too because we don't have to spend a lot of time on a lot of things that we did last year and the year before with some of those young guys like Ren and BT when they were freshmen. They pick up on things so much better now. So it's a fun group to be around, and when we're clicking, we're really good.
You kind of talked about a little bit how young the team was last year making that run to semi-state. You guys still obviously have one more regular season game left, but I mean, just how did the experience last year of those young guys playing in that big moment in semi-state, how's that going to help you this year as you get ready for another state tournament run?
Well, it's going to help big time. I mean, last year, Max, Ren, and BT had gone through it. They had at least gone through the sectional process. Max was actually around when we went to the state finals a few years ago, so he had kind of seen it all. But to me, the big thing about the tournament is adjusting to how it is, like how the week, the schedule goes, your itinerary and the daily plan, that kind of stuff. I think that's huge that our guys went through that for 3 weeks last year. So they, and we have a tough sectional. We've got some teams in front of us that we're going to have to play really well to come out on top next week. But if we do, going into the following week, the regional week is now going to be old hat to our guys. They're going to understand the routine. They're going to understand, there's a lot of downtime there. I mean, you play on Saturday night in the sectional championship, and then you don't play until the next Saturday in the regional. So, and when you're only practicing 60 minutes on the court every day, there's a lot of downtime. So our guys have been through that. So I think they'll handle that part of it really well, and the nerves part. Like, that to me is huge. Like, the hardest piece of the puzzle, don't get me wrong, every step of the tournament is really hard. But the hardest piece of the puzzle to win is the sectional. It's a lot of games in a short amount of time.
It is.
It's the teams that know you the best.
Right.
You're all familiar with them. You might have some rivalries with them. You're scouted, not that the regional opponents, semi-state opponents, state finals opponents, not that we didn't scout Blackhawk Christian when we went and played them in the state finals, but I'd never seen them in live.
Right.
All of our sectional opponents have seen us live. We've seen them live. So that's the hardest piece. And by getting through that last year, I think when we step on the floor this year, not only because we've had a really good season and things like that, our guys have been through it. The nerves part to me is big in the sectional because, especially when you're talking younger kids, it's win or go home.
Exactly.
And they, even as middle school kids, it might be win and the season's over, but guess what? We get to play again next year. When you get into high school and you're playing for your teammates, and Max and Kyle Harpold are seniors, our teammates are conscientious enough to know that this is it for them. So that puts just a little added pressure in the sectional round. So I think we'll be very, very good at handling that this year.
Yeah.
Handled it well in the past. Don't you feel like the Valley teams are still kind of under-respected, or not getting enough respect around the state? I looking at Terre Haute North, look at you guys. We always know the Valley takes pride in doing damage in the state tournament, but I feel like it seems like every year Valley teams, some of them aren't getting the respect they deserve, including you guys.
I'm going to try to answer this as politically correct as I can, but I 100% agree.
Sure.
For some reason,
we're biased. This is a Valley podcast.
Absolutely, but for some reason, there's like a black hole when you get west of Plainfield and Mooresville, and you get over to the Illinois state line, and you get from the north region of north or south of Lafayette to a little bit south of Terre Haute, because some of those smaller schools down in like sectional 63 with Bar Reeve and those guys, they get a lot of respect, rightfully so. They've had great long-time programs. We got a lot of good programs around here too. The job Todd's done this year has been amazing. I mean, it's just been remarkable. Obviously, he's one of my best friends, and I love him.
Hold you to that.
I love him to death, and want him to do well. But obviously, I'm going to pump him up. But he's done a tremendous job with that team at the level they play at, and some of the wins they have, just like their most recent against Evansville Harrison. For them not to get any statewide respect is really kind of a slap in the face to the Valley. Sullivan. I mean, look what Coach Moore does every year.
Absolutely.
Every year. And not to make Coach Moore feel old, but I played against Coach Moore. when I was a freshman and sophomore at Bloomfield, he was still the head coach at Sullivan. I mean, that was his beginning at Sullivan. And he does that every year. And there's just no no respect given to some of these programs that do it every year. Linton's another one. And Linton probably in the past has gotten a little more respect because they've kind of had some bigger name guys.
Sure.
But even with that, I mean, I do agree that I think we get overlooked over here for some reason, and I don't know why that is, but in part of it, it's good because you can use it as great motivation. You can
It
use
makes
it
for fun
use
sectional time,
great
regional
motivation
time.
for your kids, great motivation for your community, and things like that. But at the same time, you do want to see your kids and your communities and the surrounding kids and communities and coaches that are buddies of mine get the notoriety that they deserve. And you know, I would love to be able to know the exact reason why, but I definitely feel like, yeah, there's some kind of force field that doesn't allow
bubble or
doesn't
something.
allow the basketball gods to get west very far when it comes to Central Indiana. So hopefully that changes. Hopefully a bunch of us can make a big long run and
makes our
we can
job
show
a
them
lot
we're
easier.
here.
Yeah. How about a non-basketball question? What's something we don't know about? We might learn about your golf game a little later in the podcast. But what's something else we don't know about Coach Shelsky that we should know? Something pregame that you got to do? I know you've only been coaching for a few years, right? I know you've been coaching for quite a while. But what's something? Take us through your mind on a game day. I know it can be a lot of business, but
Game days are unique for me. Like on the road, game days are great because I'm also the athletic director. So on the road, I don't have to worry about
live tweeting during a game. That's happened, but not many ADs and coaches will live tweet us during the game. So that's
it's really not me. I hand my account over to somebody else so that they can run that during the games and post that stuff. But a road game's great for me because I don't have any responsibilities other than making sure my team gets on the bus and I get on the bus and we get to where we're going. Home games, completely different because I've got to make sure this place is ready. I've got to make sure, all the information's out there, up there on the press row, with our PA guy and whatever media's here. But as far as a routine, I do like to get away on game day, and I'm very fortunate in the job that I have and the people that I work with that I get a little bit of flexibility during the day. So I'm greatly appreciative of that. But I'm a big Jimmy John's guy on game day.
Yeah.
I don't eat
What's your order? Okay.
I don't eat very much on game day, but that's usually I try to get out of here, and obviously there's not a Jimmy John's in Rockville, so I've got to drive a little bit to get there, but it lets my head get right, kind of think about some things about the game, and then I eat a light lunch and drive back and go back to the office and work for a little bit. So that's kind of probably my big routine.
What can we go into your Jimmy John's
spicy
order?
Italian guy.
Take the bread out? Not take the bread out?
No, I'm a bread guy.
Leave the bread in.
You guys can look at me. I'm not too concerned about my figure. As I get older, it's even worse.
Jimmy John's, you can't go wrong with Jimmy John's. Are you ready to tackle our question box?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Can't go wrong in our random questions for Coach. Coach, you'll go first. Pick out a question, read the question out loud, and then we'll all answer it, but you can answer first.
Okay. Favorite Saturday morning cartoon? Ooh, man, it's been a long time since I've watched cartoons. And my kids haven't ever been big cartoon kids either. So let's go with the Smurfs.
Ooh,
Nice.
classic.
Good one.
That's back in my day.
Yeah, classic.
I grew up on SpongeBob. Can't go wrong with SpongeBob.
SpongeBob?
That's the one I go to.
I'd probably go X-Men, the old X-Men
There
cartoon
you go.
from the 90s. All right,
Not
next, Jack.
Yeah, I'll pick one out here.
Only a couple left, but we can bring us home.
All right, this one says, you walk into a convenience store, all right, what candy are you choosing?
Am I answering first?
Yeah, oh yeah. You get the honor.
I'm not a big candy guy, believe it or not. Again, with my figure, I'm more of a meat and potatoes guy. I don't really eat a lot of sweets, but I eat too much of what I probably shouldn't. Twix bar
Perfect.
for sure.
Yeah. So I like Reese's. I'm a big chocolate peanut butter guy, but the Reese's sticks, if you've never had those, they're good. So that's my go-to now. Yeah, for sure.
I would probably go Snickers.
Yeah.
I like Reese's. I like Skittles, but Snickers probably get the Snickers. And then, if you ever had the Snickers ice cream bar,
Oh, those are
frozen-
go-to.
I don't know if that
In
counts.
the summer.
But a Snickers
Yeah.
ice cream bar would. All right, so there's Nicole's not here, but we're gonna do one more. We might do one after that for Nicole. Let's see what this one. Nicole's working on other stuff this week. Athlete you idolized growing up. This would date us all, right? But maybe
Yep.
not. You go first, Coach.
Okay, well, I wore 23 in high school for a reason. Michael Jordan. Greatest player that ever played. I was a big Larry Bird fan too growing up, but Michael Jordan was the guy that always moved the needle for me. And, I will argue with my own kid, as he grew up in this time. He thinks LeBron James is the greatest. I will argue to the day I die with him that he's not even close and all that. No disrespect to LeBron,
Sure.
but Michael was the greatest, and he was my guy.
Yeah, I grew up in Northeast Ohio, so I got to go with LeBron. That was the one I grew up. I had
We're gonna have an extra second.
I had two LeBron jerseys. I had the LeBron posters. Then he left. I didn't like him when he left to go to Miami, but he came back,
Understandable.
won the championship.
Yep.
So he's always going to be my guy now, no matter where he goes.
So you're saying Trey wears 23 right for LeBron, not for Jordan? We could have that debate
That's
too,
a good
right?
question.
Hopefully
That's a
we'll
good
have to ask
question.
him.
We'll have to ask him
Yeah.
why he really wears 23.
I'm gonna go
Peyton? That's who I was thinking.
Peyton for sure. I love Peyton a lot, but I'm probably gonna go Ryan Sandberg or Andre
Yeah.
Dawson. I'm
Oh,
a Cubs
yeah,
guy.
Cubs. Mhm.
King Griffey obviously too, but probably 8 is my favorite number. So Andre Dawson won an MVP on a last place Chicago Cubs team when I was little. So Andre Dawson's probably
Good answer.
one.
Yeah.
We should do another bonus question for Nicole that's working hard on news
this
today.
is-
We'll do one
yeah,
more.
one more.
Since
Favorite Hoosier athlete
Oh,
from the
ooh.
state? Probably Steve Alford. Again, that was my time.
Yeah, sure.
He's a little bit older than me. I played against Damon Bailey. I mean, that's a close one. I played against Damon, though, so, that was more, he was a competitor. He was 4 years older than me. He was a senior when I was a freshman. But growing up as a kid in Indiana, being a basketball kid, Steve Alford, definitely.
I'll go with Craig Porter. He's on the Cavs.
Yeah.
Big Cleveland guy. Might as
There you
well.
go.
Terre Haute South, yeah.
so many options there too. Yeah, I mean you could go.
Larry Bird,
I
obviously.
mean, yeah, Larry
but-
Bird, obviously. I'll go Bird right now. ISU, we're hoping ISU bounces
Yeah,
back.
yes,
We
we
got a
sure
good game
do.
at Valpo, a couple of games coming up. And yeah, we'll ask you about that as we mentioned, Bird. So what have the Sycamores have done this year? I mean, that's been
It's
impressive.
been tremendous. Trey and I went down and watched them practice before our season started, and you could see, like, at that time, I was before they had played a game. They were still kind of playing some of their secret scrimmages and things like that. When we walked out there, I told Trey, I said, that's the best ISU team they've had in a long time. And nobody really was talking about it leading up because they had a bunch of new guys, and I get it, but all you had to do is see them one time live. And
Right.
I mean, the job Coach Schertz has done there and the rest of the coaching staff. And I know they've hit a little bit of a rough patch, but again, just like us, maybe that makes them right for when it
Absolutely.
really counts.
The tournament
I mean,
starts.
again, ISU in the Missouri Valley, just like the Wabash Valley in
Yeah.
high school
I mean,
basketball.
look at Drake.
Yeah,
I
it gets kind of a dark mark, and I know they were projected as being in the tournament without winning the conference title or the conference tourney. I don't know where that all falls now, but to me, with what they've done, and I think the Valley's a really good league.
Yeah.
I mean, like the teams that aren't even the upper tier teams are still really good.
Belmont,
and it's a
Murray.
very well coached league and a tough league to play in. So the fact that they can't get an at-large bid, and I have a problem with that. But I think ISU rights the ship. I think once they get healthy, they get Kent back playing, and they start clicking again, making some outside shots. When they see the ball go in, it's a great team. I mean, it's a great team, and again, just like us, I'd rather us have a rough patch last night than next week.
Sure.
I'm sure Coach Schertz
Yes.
would rather have a rough patch prior to the Missouri Valley tournament because they're the type of team they could get in the NCAA tournament and really make some noise. I don't know of anybody that would want to play them.
Especially on a short trip
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that. You play
Short prep
Thursday,
time.
Friday,
short
Saturday.
prep time, and if they get going offensively, they can score with anybody, and they're a bad matchup with everybody because they don't. I know Robbie's a big guy, but he's not a typical big. He's not your prototypical big these days. They just be a really hard matchup for somebody in the NCAA tournament, and I hope so bad they get there because I know the community in Wabash Valley wants to see that. But for those kids and coaches, I think that'd be a great challenge for them because I think they could really put themselves on the map.
Could be awesome for us, awesome for the Valley. Thanks for having us up for the
Absolutely.
podcast.
Thanks so much for coming.
Hopefully next time you'll open up a little more, right? We love talking basketball with you. We won't hold it against you that you and Coach Wolfley are close. Hey,
Yeah, that's all right.
Thanks for watching our Going to the Hoop podcast. But more to come, though. Jack's going to sit down with a trio of Parke Heritage Wolves when we come back right after our top plays of the week.
Welcome back to this week's Going to the Hoop podcast. As you can see, we are here at Parke Heritage with a trio of Wolves as they get ready to end the regular season and get started in hopefully another deep state tournament run. Ren Harper, Max Dowd, BT Luce. Guys, thanks for taking some time out of this week and coming on this week's show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. I mean, just first question. I mean, you guys, you're having a great season. I think you're 18-5. I mean, just what's the most fun part for you guys playing on this year's team specifically?
Go ahead, start, Ren.
Playing on this team, I mean, like Coach says all the time, we're really, really versatile. We have a bunch of athletic guys, and then I mean, our chemistry as a team is just really good this year. So that's obviously helps out a lot. So
we're all pretty good, like friends. So we're all not selfish or anything like that. We all share the ball, and we can score it whenever and however we want to.
There's like no trouble between like any chemistry-wise between all of us. We all talk to each other at school. No problems there. And then on this court where like everybody can pass, shoot, and dribble, like there's no problem with that either. So
you guys are getting ready to wrap up the regular season, start another run in the state tournament. What do you think are some keys for you guys moving forward as a team to hopefully make another deep run? I know you guys made semi-state last year. You guys have bigger goals this year, obviously.
I think one of the main things is being disciplined, which, I mean, we got to go out every game and give it 100%, just compete. I mean, that's really what we need to do to move forward. So
we can score the ball pretty good, but our defense lately has not been the best. And if we defend like we know we can, then it's going to be hard to beat us with our offense.
like chemistry-wise, like I said, we all are friends and stuff, but we need to communicate on the court and stuff. That's where part of our defensive breakdown is. And so if we communicate as well as we do outside the court, we'll be just fine.
I mean,
forward.
talking about last year's run, I mean, you guys make it to semi-state. You come up short in that first semi-state game. Is that something that's motivating you guys all season long, and as you get ready to, start another state tournament run?
Yeah, for sure. We want to get back there. It was fun, winning sectional and regional. We got there, played a really good team in Linton, and we just want to get back there and just compete.
Yeah, I want to play. I want to get to the second game at least this year and hopefully win that, and then go on. I was a part of a team that went to state. Not really, I didn't play or anything, but I was a part of it, and it was really awesome. So I want to get there again.
Yeah.
Although we are a new school and all that, and Linton is no slouch, they're a great program, and so are we. We're just on the uprise and stuff like that. So to have two 2A schools be constantly competing at the highest level to even make a state run is great. And so either way, we're all going to give our 100% no matter what. And so just reaching at however high that means, no matter what.
Absolutely. I mean, I've asked you guys a lot of basketball questions, but now to get off the court. So for all three of you guys, take me through your game day routine. Is there a pregame meal? Is there a postgame meal? Is there a song you got to listen to hype yourself up? We'll start here. What do you got?
On game days,
Yeah.
I'm kind of weird. I go home.
Okay.
Everyone stays in town. I go home. I either make sure I take a hot shower or I take a hot bath with some Epsom salt just to
Okay.
get my body loose and get ready for the night. I mean, that's really all I do. I come back and play.
No food you eat before the game or anything?
Sometimes my stomach's not really good with that.
Ah,
kind
that
of
makes
stuff
sense,
before
yeah.
games, but
I got to before every game, I got to eat like Subway, Burger King, and then before the game, close to the game start, I usually drink like a Red Bull or an energy drink to get going.
Whatever's cheapest and fastest to get back to school and stuff like that. But then I also forget a lot, so I gotta check through my car and everything, make sure all batteries, headphones are set, everything. Make sure I even got my shoes and everything in my bag. So yeah.
No pregame songs, no pregame playlist songs, or
Just whatever we play. We have a playlist.
who's got the aux out of you three? Anyone?
Me.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
You're the senior, you know, they got to give it to you. All right, my last question, Coach Shelsky's watching me interview you guys, but we know about Coach Shelsky on the court. Tell us something about Coach Shelsky off the court. Coach Shelsky, something that we might not know about Coach Shelsky.
He's really good at golf.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a stud golfer.
He's really good at mocking Justin Jefferson in the gritty.
Okay, so
yeah,
we'll have to have
he's
you
a
ready
good
for us.
grittier.
Okay, that sounds good, guys. Well, thank you guys for taking some time out of this week, and you know you got a big game on Friday against Terre Haute South, and we wish you luck then, and we wish you luck the rest of the season. Hopefully, a deep state run for you guys.
Thank you.
Hopefully, thank you.
That's going to
Appreciate
do
it.
it for this week's Going to the Hoop podcast. We'll hope to see you at a game soon.